Hey guys, my name is Kendrick and welcome to Enfp Mail. Today I have the chance to interview Alesha Orton, she's popular actually in Personality Cafe. I think she's only been there for 2 years and she has, I don't know how many thousand of posts already. Her name there is Literalin, and
You
uh,
noticed.
and it's actually funny how we actually organized this interview because she has masculine TE and she punched me in the forums. So here we are. So hey, you know what? Everything is an opportunity to build new friendships. So this is a good chance for us to do an interview. Um, so
My
literally,
punch was a get to know my tribe, buddy.
yeah,
Get
exactly.
to know us.
So Alicia, it's a pleasure to have you here, and we're gonna start by kind of having you introduce what your Myers-Briggs personality type is. So what is your personality type?
I am an ENFP. And should I go into more depth?
Yeah. So are you the standard ENFP, which is NEFI, or are you the NETE jumper type?
I'm very standard, I would say. NEFI, then TE and SI. Yeah.
Now, if you are an NEFI, that means you have consume first, consume over play.
Mhm.
Um, and what that means is you like to gather information for yourself. Now, when I mean by gather information for yourself, it means like, so when you go to a forum and you're interacting with other people, that's actually play energy. So
Yeah.
what do you do more of? Do you spend more time reading books or watching videos to yourself, or do you interact more with people in the forums kind of, or people in your real life?
You guys see the tip of the iceberg of what I study is really how I feel about it. And my family would collaborate. So basically, I was talking to my husband this morning about writing a new book on FE and FI, and he was like, "What about the other books that you have spent 10 years researching?" And yeah, I have a hard time getting my actual book out. But he said, if you just took everything you wrote on Piercy, that would be like a 500-page book. So I do have a big presence there, and that is where I've been playing. Yeah.
Now,
Mhm.
you have blast as your third, right? And sleep as your fourth.
That's what I suspect. Mhm.
So blast means you can use your introvert sensing, kind of like go back to all the information that you've gathered, all the facts, and then you
Mhm.
kind of do a lecture on it. So it's not like a two-way conversation, which is play. It's a one-way conversation where people are listening to you. Would you say you have a pretty okay use of blast? Because it's activated, but it's third, you know?
People tell me that I'm a good public speaker, but I will rehash everything and basically prepare for things that I've been studying for years right before I present them. So for instance, I've been working with like anorexia patients for 15 years. And if I do a presentation on anorexia, it's like I'm having to reinvent the wheel. Like I go back and I rehash everything. It's actually really takes quite a bit for me to do the blast thing.
So it is a challenge. Now, what about sleep? Because sleep is your fourth.
I like it though. I play a lot when I do blast. When I teach, I play. Okay, my sleep, my fourth. Yeah, that's probably right.
So does this mean you have trouble kind of getting enough rest, or you have trouble with having enough energy? You often feel fatigued or exhausted?
I'm the Energizer Bunny. I like never feel like I need to sleep or anything. Like I do sleep though. I usually get about 6 or 7 hours of sleep. Actually, I'm not so sure if that's accurate. It might be close to 4 or 5 or something. But anyway, I never like I do not really plan too much downtime except for consume, just to consume things. So the actual like thinking about those topics and ruminating them and rehashing them, I don't do that so much. It's
Okay.
no, 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 no.
So you're kind of like a high action, low analysis kind of person.
I mean, I don't know. I analyze. Actually, that's probably one of my top 5 traits, is what I'd say. But like compared to the new stuff that I get, like compared to all the new information I that I get, I don't think I rehash it unless I've got to blast it.
So
So
you need to kind of have it prepared first before you can blast it. You can't just blast it on the spot.
no,
I
I
see.
really can't. Yeah.
So one of the things that I notice about people with high blast, and I think Dave talked about it into detail, Dave Superpowers. I think it was really funny is because a lot of stuff that they blast, they actually just made up. And
I would never do that. Never, 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 never.
right, because you're a consumer, right? So you respect the information, so you wouldn't make anything up. So you would essentially have to gather so much information first before you would start blasting, which is there's a huge what do you call it? Disproportion between how much you consume versus how much you blast. Does that sound about accurate?
Very, yeah, very, very. Yeah, like if there's even a question or a hint of like, did you just make that up? Like if I am public speaking, if I am, so I'm a dietitian. We haven't talked about that, but that's my profession. I do quite a bit of public speaking.
Oh, nice.
And anyway, like so I give presentations on all the things about nutrition that I've learned through the years. And if there's even a hint of somebody saying, like, where did you get that information? Well, I know, I got it right there. I definitely put it into my notes. I've got it. But like that hint, like, kind of scares me. Like the idea that I would make up anything that I say is just like abhorrent to me. No, do not do that.
Do you have any friends that are high blast and sometimes you ask them, maybe you make fun of them in a way, kind of like subtly, where you like, ask them a question about a topic that they don't know anything about, but they start making up how it works?
No, I don't know. I've never noticed it before. Like, and because the whole blast play stuff is so new to me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so new that like I've never tried to detect that in anybody. I always figure people kind of know what they're talking about a little bit, and unless it doesn't hold true, unless it's not airtight.
Right. So you mentioned that you have consumed first. So I'd like to go back to kind of like your childhood, kind of growing up. So let's go kind of like under 10 first, and then in your teens. So when you were under 10, were you spending a lot of time by yourself kind of reading books and learning about information, or were you playing with other kids more?
Up until third grade. Now, actually, it happened in second grade, and I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I went into introvert mode, and the teacher didn't know what had happened. Like, she talked to my mom about it. She said, and this seems weird to me because I never was popular again in my eyes. She said to my mother, Alesha was the most popular girl in class. And now she spends all her time with that little Elizabeth, like just this one girl. And for me, hearing that, because my mom repeated it to me, I was like so shocked and so upset about her saying that little Elizabeth. Like I was like up in arms about my friend, you know. So at that point, I was starting to develop my FI. But before that, on the playground, my mom says that I would introduce myself to everybody, didn't matter their age. I'd go up to everybody, say, hi, I'm Alesha, I'm 5, or whatever age I was. And do you want to go play? So.
What about when you were at home? Were you interacting with your parents, or do you have siblings?
My siblings. We were always interacting. So I have 2 younger sisters, and we were very close, and we did everything together. And I had tons of projects for us to do. And I have an older brother, and he's a INTJ.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So he was off in his room alone. Just kidding.
Now,
and then girls were having fun.
One of the reasons why I was asking this is because you mentioned you were consumed first, right? But yeah, based on your description, it sounds like you're playing first. That's why I'm just a little bit curious. So what makes you say that you were consumed first? If during your childhood, you were actually interacting with a lot of kids more than you're spending time by yourself in your room, kind of like doing your own thing.
Oh, well, I said up until about second grade. And then after that, well, I was with my siblings quite a bit, but there were definitely lots of time. There was lots of time that I spent just reading. Yeah. And I think from like age 12 to age, I don't know, 18, I would have called myself an introvert through that whole time. I was reading. So, but I think, I mean, I am an extrovert. Like even if it's like that, NEFI, and it comes in that order for me, I'm still an extrovert. So I think, I mean, I wonder how equal it is if I go back and forth in between consume and play, and that's probably the truth. But the problem is that I know that there's a problem with my consume. Like my consume dominates my life, and I have a hard time doing the goals that I want to do. because I just want to consume all the time. So, so I think because there's a problem, because I notice it, that's why I think that it's my first.
All right, that's a pretty fair assessment. I can definitely relate with you because I think I've been studying this, Myers-Briggs stuff and Enneagram for like 8 years, and it's only been like this year or last year that I actually started my videos online. So it took 8 years worth of consuming before I started blasting, which is quite a huge lag time, right? While people with high blast, like Dave Superpowers or maybe a lot of INTJs or INFJs even, they would put something out there. They wouldn't wait until they have all the information lined up or organized. They would just start cranking out content, even though they're missing some information. Because one of the theories behind blast is that whatever information that you've gathered from the books that you read or watching YouTube videos, it's not enough. Like you almost have to blast, and then kind of like the tribe will kind of give you feedback on what you blasted, and then after you get that feedback, then you can strengthen that kind of idea that you have, right? So without that feedback, it's almost like you're consuming for like forever essentially, and then it's never ending. It's almost a trap, like
it's a trap. There's one more thing. There's always one more thing out there. So I'll tell you what I'm really thinking of when I'm talking about this, and that's writing books. Like I really want to write books. It's been my life goal. Like I was writing novels from the age of 14.
Okay.
And I have several that I have researched so much, like to exhaustion, of like almost every book that's out there. And and I still, like, I write a chapter and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I like this chapter. And then I'll go read another 5 books if they're out there. And then I'll maybe write another half chapter and not like it. And then, yeah, it's very difficult. In the second chapter of one of the books that I tried recently, and that's as far as I got, was that second chapter, was like basically I felt like I was vomiting all this 10 years of research into the second chapter. It was boring as all get out. And I realized nobody cares about all that research. So it's historical fiction. And for me, I think I want to be exactly there in the middle of that time period. And I don't want anything out of place. I want everything to just be perfectly there, like as if you were going back in time. And nobody cares because really it's about the story. So I realized that mid chapter 2, which was actually a really boring chapter, and I have not gone back to write it. And I kind of tried to change my my story and change the topic, which I've done a bunch of times actually.
All right, so I have 2 questions / comments based on what you just said. So first, we didn't cover this yet, but before the interview, you kind of sent me a message on the forum and you said that you are an Enneagram type 7 wing 6 and your tri-type is 7, 2, and 1. So because you do have that 1 in your tri-type, which makes you a perfectionist, does that get in the way kind of getting something out there, even though it's not perfect yet? Even if it's crap, you're not going to put it out there?
If it's crap, I'm not going to put it out there. Well, I think it's very difficult with that one. I think it was even more difficult when I was younger. I think the 1 was a lot stronger part of my personality when I was younger. And the 7 and my 2 has actually come out quite a bit more. And so my 1 is lower, but it definitely gives that perfectionist kind of air to it. Yeah.
Now,
so
you're a 7 wing 6. So wing 6 means you could be quite fearful. Does that get in the way too of kind of like putting content out there that, let's say you want to write a book and you need to publish it, but is there like a lot of overwhelming fear that comes with kind of putting the book together and publishing it out there in the world?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know how to talk about that more. I haven't been close enough to getting anything finished to even deal with that yet.
Have you looked into getting like a coach to kind of help push you to finish something?
Somebody did kind of volunteer as my life coach.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, and actually she's amazing. What we have pushed me in, man, I just want to ask you more questions about you. I feel like I'm talking a lot about me.
It's your interview, so you're supposed to be talking about yourself.
I feel like I want to ask you stuff too. But anyway, like the laughing at me. My life coach, she was kind of helping me to try and write the book. But she gave up on me with the book.
Oh, that's terrible. That sounds terrible.
No, it's quite okay. Because she found out I could sing. So one day I was in the kitchen and I was singing, and she came in and she's like, that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. And I'm like, I was just doing nothing. I was goofing off. Like, you were not supposed to hear that. I didn't know that you could hear that. Yeah. And I'm like, basically sorry that you heard that. And she said, no, you really need to do something with that voice. And I did not believe her, and I thought she was just being nice. And it took like 4 or 5 months of her working on that with me for me to realize that she was serious, and she made me sing for her friends a couple of times. And then one day I just went and got voice lessons, and now I actually am singing in some concerts locally. So we've been teaching me to sing opera. And actually, like, something that I've always done since I was a little tiny girl is sing too. That you can't stop me from. Like, I'll never be able to stop singing. And there was lots of rules at my house growing up about me not singing. So I had to stop for dinner. I had to stop for, different things in the house, prayer. Anyway, so I had to stop singing. And those were our only rules in the house, I think, that I can remember.
Because you were singing too much?
Was Alesha needs to not sing at the table, and you cannot sing here and there. Yeah, because my mother's actually an Enfp, and so really, like, the only time that she had strict rules was for us to treat other people nicely, or if she saw us doing something that was against her FI, she'd catch it right away. But formal rules, we didn't have so much. And by the way, that works great. We were all really good kids. So.
What about your dad? What was his personality type?
He's an ISTP. So,
wow.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good combo. Like, it really works. There were always adventures. My mother is maybe even a more of a 7 than I am. She's a big time adventurous person. So we were always taking trips everywhere and backpacking, and I've seen almost every state and things like that. My mom is an amazing trip planner, and she actually does write her books. My mother is actually very balanced ENFP. So my mom has written some amazing books that require tons of consume. She's a genealogist.
So do you it sounds like you actually look up to your mom then.
Actually, what?
It sounds like you look up to your mom quite a bit.
Yes. I think she's been very effective in everything that she's ever done. And she must have decided really early on that she just wanted to be really dependable. Like, my mom is not late. My mom is super dependable. She kind of talks down about herself. That's a problem with a lot of us, actually, ENFPs. So for her FI doesn't have very much confidence. So she kind of talks down about herself, but that made her incredibly, like, she has this really strong drive to prove herself. And she said to me, she's like, I don't think I'll ever be perfect at anything. I wasn't the talented one out of my sisters, is what she says to me, although my mom's mega talented. But anyway, she said, so I just decided, she said, that I am going to be the dependable one, no matter what. And in that way, I'd accomplish lots of things. And so she must have decided that really early. So it's probably a really good lesson for ENFPs.
It sounds like your mom was tribe above self kind of ENFP. And she was a jumper.
And she is a jumper. She, like, in fact, like, her TE was what I first see about her. Sometimes I honestly, like, have wondered, if she's a different type. In fact, I thought when I first got on Perceived that she was a ENTJ. I mean, just her TE is so strong.
Masculine TE. It sounds like your mom also had masculine SI because she was very disciplined, organized, and she kind of, set the rules, but not in a way that, that you guys were mad at her for. It was, treating other people well. that was her rule, right?
Yes.
Also, being dependable is a very SI thing, right? So it sounds so your mom is a double masculine then. So she has a strong presence.
She does have a strong presence, but that,
Wow.
that's so weird about the masculine feminine stuff, because it means that her first two functions. See, and I would love to ask Dave and Shan about this. Like, it means her first two functions are feminine.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what it would mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it means internally. Oh man, this makes so much sense when I think about it. Internally, she's very soft,
Yeah.
and she's not as confident as I am about her perceiving ability. So, wow, that is actually my mom in a nutshell. She doesn't have much self-confidence, but she makes up for it with everything she does.
So does this mean you have masculine NE then? Masculine NE?
I think so. Unless, what if I'm like a carbon copy of my mom? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Not based on your description. I think you guys are both ENFP, but not the same. It's like, and also because you have masculine NE and masculine TE, that means you have masculine play in general, like a double masculine play. You know, when you play with a tribe, you're very like even like when we opened the Zoom chat, I was like, whoa, you have like a strong like presence to you already. You know.
No.
But you're not double masculine though, like your mom. Your mom is because I can tell you do have feminine FSI for sure. Because like when you were trying to give me the numbers, like how many hours of sleep you get per day, it was like maybe 6 to 7, no, maybe 4, and you kept changing the number, right? And and my sister has feminine SI. My youngest sister is an ENFP type 9, and every time she talks to people tells people about me, the number always changes. Like whatever we're doing, like she'll make up stories that never happened. You know.
like what would she say?
So for example, like I travel a lot. I run a travel blog.
Hmm.
My passion is traveling. So I've been to 78 countries around the world. And
That's fantastic.
now my sister will go to her work. My sister's a nurse, and she'll tell people, "Oh, my brother's been to 100 countries." I was like, "What the fuck? I've never been to 100 countries."
100.
Like you're making shit up about me, like
You went to Antarctica. You went to
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, and that's not the only time she's done it. Like every time she tells a story, there's always like the number changes.
I did do that. You're
Yeah,
so observant. I should keep you around where you can give me feedback.
yeah. Well, I have masculine SI, so for me, I do I respect the facts, and like the number means a lot. Like even my girlfriend is also an ENFP. She's a type 2 wing 1, and she has
So
feminine.
interesting.
Sorry.
That's so interesting. You're dating an ENFP.
Yeah, we're both ENFPs, but I'm a 7. She's a type 2, so I'm very, I guess you can say, selfish, and my girlfriend's more tribe above self. And
Wow.
you could definitely see it like when we interact. She's the one that's kind of like kind of following my lead as opposed to me following her lead. Like we kind of talk about. Look, I mean, if you've seen most relationships, there's always that one leader and one support, right? Like you don't want to say, you want to say you're equal, and you are equal, but one person prefers to be the leader and one person prefers to be the support. And I think from what I've seen, that's always been the case. Like all the friends I've had, I've always noticed, I was like, okay, clearly, my friend's wife is the dominant one and he's kind of following her lead. He might not admit that, but that's clear to everyone else from the outside perspective, right? Now, my girlfriend does like being the support role because her ex-boyfriend, the one, not before me, but her first one, she felt very resentful towards him because he forced her to take the lead. Because it was two individuals that prefers the support role, and one person has to cave in, obviously, and take the lead. And unfortunately, it was my girlfriend that had to take the lead, and she had to play that kind of like that leadership role, and she absolutely resented. She hated it, absolutely hated it. So now her second boyfriend was the complete opposite. He was the complete leader role, but to the point that he was a big asshole that so they didn't date very long. So now we have like a fine balance. So I take the lead, but I'm not very pushy about it. Like I kind of gently like kind of lead her to the direction that she wants to go. So she'll tell me what she wants to do, or she'll tell me about her life, and I'll have to like filter it for her because my girlfriend doesn't want to narrow down what she wants to do. So I have to essentially use blast in our dating life because my girlfriend has blast last. So she won't make a concrete decision on like something. I don't know if you have trouble with making concrete decisions, but I'm pretty good at making concrete decisions. So, like whenever we're like, let's say my girlfriend's like, okay, this is what like. I'll give you a concrete example. My girlfriend right now is having a dilemma where she wants to either be a school teacher or a career counselor, and she wasn't sure which path to follow, right? So I asked her, I'm like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about being an elementary school teacher if you were to work as one for the next 10 to 20 years? And she told me 6 out of 10. I was like, well, that's pretty low. I was like, what about a career counselor? Like, let's say you work in a college or even high school setting and you are counseling students on which career path they should go. How would you feel if you had to work in that position for the next 10 to 20 years? And she said 8 out of 10. I was like, there you go. That's what you should be doing. She's like, oh, okay. And then now she has now she knows what she needs to do, right? And then I was like,
that's great.
Now she wanted to go to school and get a bachelor's in education. And I said to her, well, why do you want to go sideways when you can go upwards? Why don't you go get a master's instead? And she said, oh my God, the light turned off where I am.
Saw that.
Oh my God, it's open now. So anyways, so she said, oh, I don't want to get a master's because no one in my family has even gotten a bachelor's. She's the first one in her family that got a bachelor's degree, right? So she feels
kind of... I'm the first in my family to get a master's.
Oh, really? That's sweet. Yeah. Congratulations.
That's awesome. Anyway, keep going. So
yeah. So anyway, so she so now she's seriously thinking about getting a master's in counseling, because I think she could be a good career advisor, career counselor. And now
if she's a 2, that just fits, right? The teacher was good too, but really that one-on-one counseling is amazing. Yeah. I love doing it.
As a dietitian, you mean, or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get people in my office on a one-on-one. That feeds me. That feeds my soul. I need that every day. I need to just talk to people.
And you don't get bored. You don't get bored counseling people all day?
No. In fact, it energizes me so much. I need it. If I have a day where I don't have anybody scheduled, I mean, that is not a good day for me. I really love counseling.
How many years have you been working as a dietitian?
15.
Oh my God, that's a long time. And you're not bored. See, usually ENFPs get bored, right? Like they change careers pretty quickly, but you've kind of stuck it out for 15 years.
Dietitian is awesome for us dietitians. I think it's on every list about like professions that ENFPs love. And that's kind of unusual because it's not a big profession, you know. It's interesting that it made any list at all, I think. But there's just so much variety in my day. I get to use so much like different knowledge for different people, tailor it to that person. This counseling is going to be the same for her. She's going to love it. Yeah.
All right. I will let her know. You know what? If I were to go back to school, I think being a dietitian is definitely something I would like to do because I really like nutrition too. Like I meal prep at home, and you know, I try to eat super clean. You know, right now I'm doing intermittent fasting, and like I have an 8 to 9 hour window where I eat, and then I have a 15 to 16 hour window where I don't eat. And I try to follow the paleo diet. That's kind of my favorite go-to diet. I've tried different diet. Like before I was doing the bodybuilding diet.
The what diet?
Before I was doing the bodybuilding diet, it was like 40% carbs, 40% protein, and 20% fats. But something felt off, you know, like I didn't really like it. Like I felt like there was something wrong, you know, eating chicken breast, broccoli, and brown rice. Something felt wrong. Like I wasn't satisfied. Like I looked fit outside, but inside I didn't feel good, you know. So I think when I switched over to paleo and going to more high fat diet, that's when I felt like, you know, I felt really good.
Good. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you feel good. I'm if my masculine TE is going to come out anywhere, it would be in nutrition, by the way. Yeah, I don't like to talk about it with friends. like I'm like, if something comes to me, you know, for information, all good. But basically friends, family, and if they want to just shoot the breeze with it, I'm like, oh no. This is something I've studied like for years. If you want my opinion, be prepared. Like so anyway.
Bulldoze them.
Yes, I'm like, really, if you really want my opinion on that, I'll you know, and I'll give you all my sources. You know,
sure.
Let's not do it. So for me, nutrition's not just a shoot the breeze kind of topic.
A serious thing.
It's where my credentials are like, that's important. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. We're both in the health industry. I work as a personal trainer. That's my day job, right? And
Okay.
I've been doing it for 6 years. And to be honest, I'm kind of getting bored with it. Just because people don't kind of follow through with what they do. It kind of gives me a headache. You know, people don't take that self-responsibility, which really bothers me because I'm huge into I'm a big believer that everything in your life is your fault. You know, like after you kind of leave your house, you know, like after, let's say, um, like Dave and do you know Gary Vaynerchuk, the social media guy? Okay, but so basically, there's different schools of thought about this. So some people say, after you turn 18, you know, you cannot blame anyone else at that point because you are now an adult and you need to clean up. You should be able to, whatever happens to you is now your responsibility, right? But like, according to Dave and Shan, they said that, nope, you have until 25 because when you move out, or let's say when you turn 18, you have now the next 5 to 7 years to clean up the mess that your parents made, right? So yes, they did mess up your life to an extent, like whether you would like to say that or not, but you know, most of our problems come from childhood trauma from our parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, sorry?
Did you know that this is very much has to do with Myers-Briggs? Different types actually feel very, very differently about this. So the more FE kind of people actually feel very much like that everything about us is a product of our environment. Don't know if you've talked to anybody about that, but I've talked to several, and they have a really hard time seeing it my way. I do feel like agency, you reap what you sow. Like I do feel like free will is very much alive and something important to me. And yeah, I mean, as like maybe we'll get like tons of comments on this one. I don't know, hope not. But like a lot of FE heavy people, I hear them, you know, say more like that's a hard concept for them. They feel more like that everything about them has to do with their environment, with people around them, and it's interesting.
I've met FE users actually with very good self-awareness, but they did something different than most FE users do. So if you talk to, I don't know if you have how many ENFJ friends you have or ESFJ friends.
Mostly I talk to INFJs on Personality Cafe.
Yeah.
Like I do that a ton. Like it's fascinating to me to see the difference. So INFJ, I've talked to a lot about this. Yeah.
So if you if you follow Dave and Shan stuff, they talk about EJs, right? EJs like ENTJ, ENFJ, ESFJ, and I forgot the last one. Basically, they don't have that, or ESTJ, sorry, they don't have that self-love. You know, like they kill themselves for the tribe, and then they forget about themselves, which is really odd because if you meet ENTJs, you think they're super confident, right? So it wasn't until I started interviewing a lot of ENTJs that I realized that they were actually incredibly insecure inside. And then they needed the tribe validation. Either if they were a TE user, they needed to make sure that things are working well for the tribe. And if they were an FE user, then they need to make sure that everyone in the tribe is feeling good. So basically, I have a lot of friends growing up that were ENFJs. So I had a weird group of friends growing up. Like all my friends like were dominated by FEs. I had so many FE user friends. It was really weird. And I noticed that a lot of them did not have that self-awareness, you know, except for the one of them, but only because we hanged out together. And, you know, you talked about how your environment makes a huge role in your personality. And it was because I kept telling him about it every day. I think that's how he figured it out. But it was by accident, right? It wasn't because, you know, he was studying it, you know, because I kept asking him, I'm like, what do you like? What's your passion? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? You know, I kept questioning him, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, he would, sorry?
What do you say? Yeah.
Yeah, and he would figure it out. And then, you know, because he would try to please other people or try to look good or be really image-oriented. And if you look at people who are tribe above self or people with strong FE or TE, they always look at people in a spectrum, right? They always say, okay, like kind of like your mom, like earlier when you were talking about your mom, you said your mom was trying to compare herself to her sisters, right? It's like, okay, well, I wasn't here, so I need to be the responsible one, right? So she was kind of trying to figure out where she fit in that spectrum, right? Well, like for me, I'm self above tribe, so I never look at that. That thought never even comes to my head. I'm like, where'd I fit in the hierarchy? Like, I don't care, I don't really like give a shit. Like, that's stupid, right? In my opinion, it's stupid.
Yeah.
But like,
well, it doesn't mean that they're less motivated. Just because they're not feeling like that that it's coming from within them. Like it doesn't mean that an INFJ or an ENFJ is less motivated by any means. It just means that they have a very different feeling about free will. But yeah, that must have been very interesting for you to notice that. Yeah.
Well, so
I want to point something out about you. Can I point something out about you really quick?
Sure, yeah.
You are so good with details. It is incredible. I can't believe that you remembered that about what I said about my mom.
Oh.
Good job, Kendrick. Yeah.
Yeah, masculine introverted sensing.
Maybe I want that, but I don't know. Then I'd be on time.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't on time when I was younger too. I was really bad with punctuality. I'm better now as I'm older. But anyway, so I did meet one ENFJ that had such good self-awareness. And so when I go to work, I work in a community center, and I work with a lot of ESFJs and ENFJs, and I always ask them, like, because ever since I started learning about the animals and the jumper type and tribal self and all this new stuff that Dave has been putting out, I went up to a lot of EJs, kind of like as a social experiment. I was like, "Are you having an identity crisis?" Like, I just ask them, just to see what would they say, and their eyes would like widen, like, there's like, "Oh my God, how did you know?"
You spotted it.
and I was like, there is something into like what they're saying. They didn't just pull this out of their ass, right? Exactly.
It's amazing.
And then I started prodding deeper, right? They're like, I was like, So, because I know for a fact that I did meet one ENFJ who, ever since he was young, when he was young, this is a sad story. His father got killed while riding his bicycle. And
oh my gosh.
And he was young when it happened. So, and his family always had kind of like they call it the dirty laundry, which is like they had a mental disorder within their family line, which is a lot of them were bipolar. Well, some days they were extremely extroverted, hypomanic, and some days they were extremely depressive. Like, they couldn't get out of the bed. They have to cancel out on their plans, and people would get upset at them because they would flake out, but they literally could not get out of the bed just because they were feeling so depressed. And then they couldn't tell people that the reason why they couldn't get out of bed was because of they're struggling with bipolar. Instead, what they had to make up a story. So it was they had a shame around being bipolar. So so this guy, he's my friend now. He's a client of mine. He's older than me. I ended up training him and his wife as a client of mine. And basically what happened was that at one point in his life, he felt fed up. He said, why should I feel shame over having bipolar? Why can't I, why can't I tell people about it and make it a conversation instead of something that you should be ashamed of?
I like that. I really like that. Become an advocate about it.
Exactly. His dream ever since he was a kid was to ride his bicycle around the whole planet Earth. And it was a weird coincidence that his father got killed while riding a bicycle. And also,
there's a lot of water on the Earth.
Yeah.
I'd have to ask how he was going to do that, but but anyway.
When he started dating his current wife right now, when they were just boyfriend and girlfriend, she was really encouraging. And he said his favorite line is that for every man that has succeeded, they had a strong woman behind them that pushed them to follow their dreams. So basically, he told his dream to his girlfriend at the time, which is his wife now, about riding his bicycle around the whole planet Earth. And he wanted to do it in a way that would bring attention to mental health disorder, where it's not a shame anymore. It's now something that you can publicly talk about, and you shouldn't have to hide it. So she encouraged him deeply to go on this massive adventure of a lifetime, to go ride his bicycle around the whole planet Earth. And he really resisted it because he was an ENFJ. And as an ENFJ, you don't want to do anything alone. You always want to do things as a group, right? she finally convinced him to do it, and he pulled the trigger. And he rode his bicycle around the whole planet Earth. And he lives
Wow.
here. He lives here in the same city as me in Vancouver, in Canada. And he now has a nonprofit organization called Ride, Don't Hide, where you ride your bicycle for certain kilometers, and it's to bring awareness to, you know, different mental health problems that people are dealing with. And I actually I run a meetup group on travel, and I got him to speak. It was such a amazing. It was amazing to witness him talk about his journey and his awakening, you could say. Someone that's an EJ that finally did something that they wanted for themselves. So they dug deep into their inner core, right? And his dream, because a lot of ENFJs will never pursue their dream, but this guy did. And his dream was to ride his bicycle around the whole planet Earth. And his dream was to create a nonprofit organization that brings awareness to mental health disorder. And when he was sitting down there, he said one of his biggest fear when he first started setting out was actually the fact that he had to do it alone. That was his biggest fear. It wasn't going to dangerous countries to, you know, where he could possibly get hurt. It was the fact that he had to do it alone. That was his biggest fear. And then he was sitting there on a table, and he had this weird kind of like reminiscing smile on his face. And he said, but to tell you the truth, now that I'm back here, the one thing that I miss this whole time was that one moment where I just had time to myself. It was just me. It was just me and my bicycle. And
wow.
Oh my God, I had goosebumps when he said that. Just like, it was like an ENFJ. I back then I didn't even know that it was an ENFJ thing. Like an ENFJ who discovered their identity, you know, and their passions. I didn't know at the time, but it was definitely a powerful talk. And to me, it was because he found himself. He found his dream. And now he comes back here and he has so much self-awareness, so much self-responsibility. He never makes excuses. Like when I was training him and he wasn't getting the result, he would say, it's my fault. I ate all this shitty food. It's my fault. And to me, it was just so powerful to see someone defeat their demon. You know, David Chan always talks about the saviors and demon, right?
Yeah.
He defeated his demon. This is a man that defeated his demon. And I have so much respect for this man. And, you know, I look up to him, you know, and like, I want to defeat my demon, which is my demon SI, right? Like for us, discipline is our biggest weakness. And, you know, David Chan, if you go to the membership website, I'll tell you what's going on. You don't have to sign up for it, but like, they talked about this ENFP. His name is Phil DeFranco. And basically he is the rare ENFP that conquered discipline, because it's been, I don't know how many years he's been cranking out content on YouTube. It's 7 or 8 years, but he's been cranking out videos every single day. And that is a weakness of ENFPs, which is having the discipline enough to use your weaker function, in our case, blast, and use it on a daily basis without fail. And that is kind of like how you conquer your demon, right? Is to do the things that you're afraid of. And guess what? He wasn't a perfectionist at first. If you look at his older videos were shit. They were terrible, right? But guess what? They're professional level now. And the only reason is because he practiced, kind of like you with being a dietitian, right? You've been doing it for 15 years. No one can slip past by you if you were to give someone an advice as a dietitian. Because you've done it so well, you've done the research, you've done the consume. And now you've gotten to the point where you're so confident about it that even if you don't have anything prepared, if someone says, you know, hey, Alesha, we need to do a 20-minute presentation on, you know, what people should eat. I bet you can go on the stage and, you know, say something without having anything prepared. Does that sound about right?
I do frequently, yeah.
Yeah, frequently. Exactly. That's the word you use, right? That means you already do it. You've already built up that.
I don't want to prepare, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's already because you built up that knowledge. You know, you've taken the time to blast, to build something. You know, you rob from your consume and you stuck it out in diet as a dietitian. Now you have other passions, right? You like singing too.
Yes.
Yeah, but you've already mastered one area, which is dietitian. So now you now have permission to work on a second area to master, because you've already mastered one thing. So in a way, you've done really good in that area. You know, like I've been working as a personal trainer for 6 years now, right? So I have about 4 more years before I hit mastery. So even though I don't like it that much, I'm gonna force myself to do it because I want to master SI. I want to master.
How do you decide when you're a master at something, though? I think it's when you get flow state, if you know anything about that. But I want to recap on everything that you just told me with the ENFJ. So that is a very powerful experience for you to be able to see people who conquer their inferior function. Like, that's amazing. It sounds like it was really inspiring to you and got you doing these videos even maybe and working on your essay. And you shared that with me and gave that to me in a very powerful and very inspiring message. And I just wanted to point out how very ENFP that was and how much it affected me. And it was awesome because I feel like that ENFPs inspire each other very much so.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I wanted to thank you for that. Thank you for that story and everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, ever since he told me that story, every time I meet an ENFJ now, I use him as an example to kind of where they could be at, you know? So whenever someone tells me, oh, I really want to find myself or find my identity because I'm having an identity crisis, I just tell them, you have to do the one thing that you're really scared of, and that's being alone. Like, you need to go on a journey by yourself. Okay, you don't need to ride your bicycle around the whole planet Earth, but maybe you can take a year off to go backpacking, and you do it by yourself. Yes, once in a while someone can fly out and come, hang out with you and stuff. But the vast majority of the time, you must be by yourself. Because you need to be comfortable with having yourself as your only companion. You must like yourself. You must like being with you, like hanging out with you. You know what I mean? If you don't like hanging out with you, what makes you think other people would enjoy hanging out with you? Like, what makes you feel like you just... Like, you need to feel like you deserve people, like you deserve you deserve yourself, essentially. You know what I mean?
I realized my school counselor growing up was a ENFJ. She used to talk about that all the time. See if you like yourself when you're alone, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for us, wouldn't it be like plunging into that routine and saying, okay, Alesha, you're going to sit down and you're going to write 1 or 2 pages every day. You're just going to take some time to do it. And you're going to do it at the same time. And you're going to do it, like on time every day, doing that. That would be me mastering my inferior function. What about for you? How do you go about mastering your inferior function for you?
Well, I mean, my biggest weakness is blast. Sleep and blast essentially. But I took a year off to go travel around the world, and I was using sleep a lot because I was going on those 12-hour bus rides, and I got a chance to use sleep because I was just sitting there. So I had to learn to kind of reflect back in my life, analyze the periods when I felt most happy, when I felt most unhappy. And essentially, I use that as an opportunity to kind of like make a decision how I want to proceed forward with my life. And that's kind of when I came to an epiphany where, okay, all my reoccurring tidal waves, as they would say, is the lack of discipline. And the discipline is in regards to money. Like, I'm always broke, right? So I don't have discipline with my spending habit. Like, I know I'm Asian and I'm supposed to be a cheap ass, but like, I'm actually not. Like I'm shitty at math. I'm shitty at math. Like, I just destroy all the stereotypes. But so basically, me and my girlfriend always have money issues, right? So I was kind of thinking to myself, like, why do I have money problems all the time? What is the root cause of this? And right now, what I'm doing is I'm using my SI to do a 1 year's worth of gathering facts on my spending habit. So every month, I've kept every single receipt that I've spent my money on, and I've put them in categories whether that be groceries and food, or travel, business.
You are kidding me. You are kidding me. You categorize your receipts.
I did.
What ENFP does that? That's kind of amazing.
Well, I mean, we all have to grow up eventually, and and master and learn to use it, right?
I just don't spend. How's that? Like, I'm just cheap.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Grew up not very rich, so anyway, I just don't buy stuff.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
It works.
Yeah, but for me, it's an issue, right? Like, I do, like, before, I call it a leaky bucket. Like, my money's going somewhere, but I don't know where. So I need to figure out where the leak is coming from, right? So, and my girlfriend also has a leaky bucket too, right? We're both having issues with money. So right now we're both doing a 1 year spending tracking thing. So every month we track every single spending that we have. Although my girlfriend fell off the wagon for 2 months. Oh my God, because she has feminine SI, right? So it's a little bit worse than mine. But I'm trying to get her to get back on track because she was getting depressed a few days ago because she was looking at her bank account. I was like, why is my money where's my money going? You know. Now I had to use visuals to kind of help my girlfriend because she's very visual. So I said to her, okay.
Is she like me? Is she visual? Is she same as me, feminine, masculine?
You know what? I don't know what her girlfriend is. I think she's double masculine, to be honest, because so maybe she's not visual, but it's like, because I sent you those videos of different people dancing based on their sexual modalities, right? I don't know if you got a chance to watch them.
I did. I watched them.
But basically my girlfriend danced exactly like Sylvester Stallone at a video. like the way she like thrusts her hips, or like really like hard, like hard. It's like hard movements, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like flowy, it's like that's the way she dances, right? It's like like so I was like, okay, oh my God, are you double masculine or maybe not? Because like I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, wait a minute, her introvert sensing is terrible though. Like it's so terrible. So she definitely is masculine for the tribe and feminine on the SI. So she is like you, actually. You're both feminine and masculine. And she's very visual, right? So she couldn't figure out where her money was going. And it was the first time in her life that she moved out. So we moved out together just not too long ago. And so I took my calculator. I'm like, this is how much we're paying on rent. So I'm like, I took it, I pressed it in my calculator and I multiplied by 12 and I showed it to her. I'm like, this is how much you're paying this is how much it's costing you per year on rent. Before, when you were living with your parents, this would have all gone to your savings. And she was like, oh my God. She was like shocked, right? But she wouldn't listen to me when I was verbally telling her that. I had to show her like a visual,
That, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like I'm very visual. I'm really good at math though. So, well, sorry, it was change subject. Okay,
no, but
I want to go back to you and her, and you both being ENFPs. I want to know how that works out. And then I haven't even told you, but I did tell you. I'm married to an INFP.
You told me that.
Yeah, so we were with very similar people. And actually, in the time that, just yesterday, I figured out that he is masculine, feminine. And so he's very auditory. Yeah. And I kind of was thinking about how this works out for us, and I think it works really, really well. Like he has this masculine FI and SI, so he can like tinker with gadgets and stuff like that. And I'm horrible with gadgets. It's like I just can't. And he's also, like very strong on who he is, and like he definitely knows inside exactly who he is and what he wants. And then he's got feminine TE, which means that my masculine TE and his are not really conflicting. We're complementing each other.
Right.
And I just realized how much that might have to do with the chemistry between he and I. Like the fact that he's masculine, feminine, and I'm feminine, masculine. I think that's cool. But like, so
sorry to cut you off for a second, but even your extrovert functions are both masculine and his are both feminine.
Yeah, exactly. And it works. Like somehow it works. He listens to all my NE ideas. Yeah. He takes them in, which is just awesome. Yeah. He's also, he's like consumed sleep, and I can't figure out which one's first. But yeah.
Is he serious or more playful?
Well, with me, he's playful. And actually with other people, he's pretty playful. My husband's really funny. Like you would like to do an interview with him if he would consent. Like
Yes, I would like to do an interview with your husband.
And we'll talk about it later. But anyway, he's really funny. And he also comes up with amazing analogies. Like he has his NE developed enough that his analogies, he'll like think about everything, ruminate on everything, and he'll come up with something that's so airtight and just beautiful and nails it. So for me, I love all that. We have a good dynamic talking, and it sounds like to me like he and I both have this good back and forth on that feminine masculine kind of stuff too.
Does he have trouble getting started?
I'd say yes. Yeah.
So he has blast last then.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
You're the one that pushes him to get stuff done then.
Yeah, I'm the 7. He's a 9.
Oh,
So,
that's a good
so
match actually. 7 and 9s.
oh, we have a lot of fun. But yeah, he's wonderful. Anyway, love the guy. I'm sure you feel the same about your girlfriend, but I only dated one ENFP once, and we thought we liked each other a lot. Came time to kiss, and it was like brother sister. Like it was chemistry was not there. And I kind of like took that as an example of like, is this what it would be like for all ENFPs to date each other? And obviously not, but I'm very interested in how that would and how that goes for you guys. And maybe with relationships, any Enneagram maybe has more to do with relationships maybe than Myers-Briggs. But what do you think? What did you think when you first found an ENFP to date? I want to hear.
You know what, to be honest with you, it's not super strong chemistry. There is chemistry, but it's not super like explosive, you know? It's not like ENFP and INFJ together. You know what I mean? But we get along, but on an emotional level, there is really good chemistry for both of us. Like we just click, you know? Like everything about it is like complementary. So
yeah.
I think that's where we're doing really good. Actually, when we first started dating, we were fighting a lot. So I think the first
right?
the first 2 years we dated, we fought so much. The first 3 years, the first 3 to 4 years, sorry, even 4 years, maybe even.
How long have you guys been together?
6 years. We've been together for 6 years now.
That's beautiful.
But like our relationship has improved after that initial. You know what? Our chemistry actually exploded more on this between I think year 2 to 4 is when we had the strongest chemistry. Year 1, I wouldn't say we didn't have that strong, but year 2 to 4, it started getting strong, and then I think it started like leveling off a little bit, but like the emotional chemistry is still there. So it's definitely weird to date an ENFP if I were to be 100% honest, but it's working. So I think like
it's fascinating, really. I'm surprised more people haven't asked you about this yet. So keep talking.
No, it's definitely like I would have never assumed I would date an ENFP because I've always been attracted to introverts. Now, my girlfriend is an introverted ENFP. She's play first, she's consume second, and sleep third. So her animals are, she's an introverted ENFP. Like she doesn't like to go out. She likes to stay at home. She absolutely hates socializing with people she doesn't know. You know, she's very shy. So I don't know. So she's definitely an introvert ENFP, but she's not introverted when she's with me though. She's super like kind of like I wouldn't say bipolar, but like 1 minute she's exploding and 1 minute she's like super like shy and quiet. It's really, I don't know. That's definitely an ENFP thing. Like like state, like your state is changing all the time. I think that also comes with the introvert sensing, which is like I think I think ENFP's confidence is anchored to our introvert sensing. So
that's interesting. Do you think that would be true with almost everybody with inferior function?
No, because I don't know if you know this, but like if you meet a lot of ISTJs, they act really confident. I don't know if you've like met.
Yeah.
And the reason why,
of them, yes.
a lot of them act really confident. Like sometimes you even wonder, like, why are you confident? Like there's no reason for you to be confident, right? But like they are, and because they kind of anchor their confidence into something that happened to them in the past. So like, or also some kind of like detailed information. So I'll give you an example. Like let's say, so people who are SJs, right? They really anchor their confidence with being reliable, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that they were reliable to the tribe makes them feel that they should be confident. So as a result, they're confident. So they kind of like use their SI to reflect back at all the moments that they were reliable in the tribe. And every time they were reliable in the tribe, they're like, okay, I can be confident. And their confidence builds up.
Yeah. Yeah, and their confidence comes from the tribe, right? So like they know that they're doing this for the tribe and they're getting feedback on it and it's working for them. And yeah, I absolutely like I think our confidence comes from TE. Like when I actually got more confident, it was because I was building TE. And I actually was talking about this yesterday on Personality Cafe, so I'm ready to blast. So I think earlier than my mid-20s, then my standard for FI was like up here. Like, you know, my ideals were way up there. And basically without any TE, there's nothing judging that FI. So it's like sky's the limit. Like your ideals for yourself can be as high as the ceiling. And then TE comes in and it's like, oh, everybody else's standard is like here. Like, oh, well, I can hit that, you know. So that's personally what I think happens with confidence. I was not very confident before my TE kicked in at all. Don't know what your experience was with that. And I don't even know how old you are, Kendrick.
I'm 34. Yeah.
42.
You're the wiser Enfp. Older Enfp.
Yeah.
Well, I read a book called Please Understand Me Too. I don't know if you read that book. So it says in the book that we derive some of our confidence confidence with being a sage, right? So that meaning like being an expert on a topic. So I think when you were using SI and TE to blast, I think that's where you got your confidence from, you know, because like before,
I agree.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying like, you know, like it like when I was younger, I felt like I wasn't good at anything. And I felt so bad about it. Like I was looking at all my friends who were like EJs or IJs or even IPs, right? They seem to have the discipline to stick things out in just one field. So they were able to build on something, you know, at an early age, right? While I was still like kind of like being scattered, trying different things. Cause I wasn't willing to settle for something unless I knew I really liked it. Like I needed to make sure that my FI was satisfied first. Now, a lot of my friends were not, they didn't care about their FI or TI, right? They just did whatever society said that they should do, right?
Right.
But which I completely disagree with, because I'm a big believer that, you know, in life, there's like a building that you climb, and then you can choose which building you want to climb. You can put your ladder on that building and like climb that ladder, right? But if you put your ladder on the wrong building and you get to the top of that building, you're going to get to the top and you're going to feel like shit. Like you're going to feel like you get to the top, you're like, oh my God, this is not me. Like I've climbed the wrong building of life. So I really did not want to climb the wrong building. So it took me a lot longer to find the right building to climb, you know? So I felt so insecure. I felt like a nobody. You know, I got into video game addiction just because, you know, when I was playing video games, I was really good at it. So I derived my confidence from it. But I remember in my mid-20s, I remember I turned off my monitor and I lay down in my bed and I looked at in the ceiling and I said to myself, you know what? In this game, I am the shit. But in real life, I'm a piece of shit, because in real life, I am not good at anything. Like I'm in my mid-20s. I still live with my mom. I don't have, I haven't finished anything in school, like any bachelor's or even a diploma. Like I absolutely had nothing. Like I think I was 23 when this happened. And then I think at that point, it was like a turning point. Like my dad got sick too and he passed away like a few years later. But before he did, I finished something in school, not for the sake of using my FI, but for the sake of using TE, you know, like my tribe, my dad essentially, before he passed away, I wanted him to know that I finished something in school. So I finished like a diploma in business, but
that's awesome.
Then I was following another guy. His name is Eben Pagan. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he said in life, you don't know what's 10 steps ahead from you, but oftentimes you know what's one step in front of you. So go take that one step, and after you take that one step, so he said, take that one step, and after you take that one step, the next step after that will illuminate, and you'll know like what your next step will be. So while I was going to college, one of my classmates, she was overweight, and she asked me, because I was working out a lot in the gym, so she asked me, hey, Kendrick, can you help me in the gym? I'd really like to lose some weight. You know, I feel really bad about myself. So I'm like, okay, sure. So I took her to the gym. I started showing her how to exercise. And then she said, you're really good at this. Like, you're really good at coaching and like helping me understand how to do a proper form and how to exercise. Maybe you should look into becoming a personal trainer. I was like, oh, really? So kind of like, I started mulling over it. And then I took a test, Strength Finder 2.0. I don't know if you've taken a test before.
Say it again, the Strength
Finder 2.0.
Strength Finder? Yes, I did actually.
Okay, well, I'll ask you about that later because I'd like to know what your 5 strengths are. But so I took that test and then I looked at personal training. I was like, okay, am I going to be using the 5 strengths as a personal trainer? I was like, yeah, they all match, you know. So um, basically the 5 strengths that I had was, number 1 was activator. So I'm good at just starting instead of like overthinking it. I can just start. I'm good at communication. I'm good at individualization, meaning when I talk to people, I know their hidden talents and I can like pull it out of them. I'm good at coming with ideas, and I also have command. And command is like, you're super blunt. Like I'm super blunt. I just tell people like, hey, do this, which is good for being a personal trainer because I have to boss people around, right?
Yeah.
So
for me in nutrition too.
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up working as a trainer for a year and a half at first, and I started developing my skills. And finally, I was like, okay, cool. I'm starting to build my self-esteem because I'm becoming an expert on a topic, which is fitness, right? And then like I had an INTJ coach at the time, which I highly recommend for any ENFPs. You should always have an INTJ coach. Like ever since I got an INTJ coach, I've never not had one, and it's actually my secret success. Because I don't have NI, and they do. So I pretty much just borrow their NI, and then that works out, pretty well.
What's funny is, I mean, Dave said the same about ENFPs, right? He said basically it was his friend who got him into doing the video blogs and who kind of told him, when you're with your interview with him, that was really cool. We do help each other. I think INTJ and ENFP definitely have a lot to learn from each other.
Yeah, that's true. Even right now, I'm getting coaching from Dave, right? And I'm like, oh my god, everything he's telling me is gold. Like in my head, it's gold, right? And then like I'm showing him some stuff, and he said, oh my god, this is really good. And I'm like, really? I think it's shit. But like, I don't know. I don't know what's good or not. Like so. So. Anyways, back to where I was going earlier.
That's great. Good. I'm glad you're getting good feedback and having a good coach. Good.
Yeah. So basically the point I'm trying to make is like, okay, so I wanted to make sure I had the right FI, the right building, right? So yes. I actually started a business several years ago as in fitness, and my business did pretty good the first 4 months. I made some money, but then afterwards it died. I had a marketing campaign that just went really bad, and I lost all my money. I was in debt. But you know what? That was the best thing that ever happened to me, because do you know Chris Guillebeau, the author of the $100 Startup or Born for This? So he's an INFP, and he wrote several books. And one of the books that he wrote several books. The first book that he wrote was called The Art of Nonconformity. So it's all about like living the life according to what you want, not like according to what society tells you should live, right? And he wrote several books. So he would cycle between books on, being a unconventional person, and then business or career, and then he would kind of cycle between both, right? So I met him in person in Seattle.
Oh, neat.
And then that's kind of when I learned that I should be traveling around the world, and I should start a travel blog. And it's only like it wasn't until my 30s where I discovered, okay, travel is my passion. Travel is the one area I can never get bored because there's so many different options. There's so many different stimulations. And this is one area I can SI and stay disciplined with. So kind of like going a full circle here, how I'm kind of training my SI. Well, I'm training my SI by sticking it through with the whole travel blog. I'm going to force myself to stay in fitness for 4 more years because if you read the book Outliers, they say that you need 10,000 hours to reach mastery. And 10,000 hours is about 7 to 10 years. So I want to hit 10 years for fitness before I kind of like start, weaning it off. And then I also, when I was traveling around the world, I really wanted to keep traveling. And that's kind of like when I figured out what kind of lifestyle would make me really happy. So I said, okay, for me to earn this lifestyle that I want, I need to have that, that video I made on self-imposed prison? I need to prison myself here where I live, root myself here, force myself to work a job where I'm kind of more or less more neutral now, not so much so happy to do it, and forcing myself to just stick through it so I can earn money while building my online business so that in the future I can have the freedom that I want. So in order for me to have the freedom that I want, I have to imprison myself first. And
it's great. Like, I mean, this is very long-term planning. I really like it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So basically that's what I think. I don't know, like, I think you're in a different path than me. So it's very interesting for me to kind of like see where you are at. And I don't know if you've kind of thought about what your long-term dream and passion is?
Oh yeah. Well, I've been in child rearing mode for a long time. Like my kids I have twins. They're a girl and a boy. They're 14 years old. And so they're just getting to be teenagers, and this like opens up a world of, okay, I've got more time. They don't want time with me so much, right? Right. So I've got a lot more time on my hands. So there's much more for me to do. So for me, music, I do want to compose. I would like to, and then writing my books, and then art later on. Like I want to be going back to art. When I was little, I was always painting, and then in college, I was thinking about going the route of artist, but I decided I could always have it for a hobby. So there's a lot of art around here too. So choosing this town kind of made it so that a lot of the things that I want to have happen in my life are going to happen. This town has a whole lot of things for me that are really available and free, and that I can work with. I was a manager for and before we moved here. So we moved from Utah to Oregon, very much by choice. I was it felt like I was top of my game, like where I was at. I was cutting edge research. My team I had trained completely. I'd been in that type of job, and it was a job I was very passionate about. I was a WIC manager. If anybody who's ever worked with me sees this, hello. I absolutely loved everyone I've ever worked with. And I'm talking about the counseling that I've done with people, right? Just really loved them. Loved that job. Loved working with mothers and babies. Moved here, got into diabetes care. Love it just as much. And that was a goal of mine, was to do diabetes care, but kind of had to restart everything, right? Kind of had midlife job career changes and things like that. Went from being a manager and having quite a bit of control over the things that I was starting and the programs I was trying to do, and I was doing things with public health, starting programs and things like that. I really worked with some fantastic managers that I feel let me create programs and things, and then moved here, and I do love diabetes care that I'm in. But I'm not a manager anymore, and there's a whole lot less responsibility on me, and I feel like there's a lot less responsibility on me in like so many ways, in like that my kids are growing up, and things like that. And so for me, this is all a return to my FI. Like, if I felt forced to use my TE as a manager, and I didn't like telling people what to do, and I didn't like the feedback because I'm too my FI is actually really soft. Like, so over the last couple of days, I've really realized I do have feminine FI. But anyway, I want to get back into all the things that are creative for me. So like, I just want to like create for the rest of my life. I'm really happy to retire here. And so many things change at age 40. I can't even tell you. And I don't know if anybody else has talked to you about age 40. I didn't think that age 40 was going to give me, like, knock me for such a loop, but it really, really did. It, like, all of a sudden, I don't know, everything kind of changed for me around that time. So now I'm just in this mode of wanting to create as much as possible. Except for, am I? No, I'm playing on Percy. Yeah. Most of the time, like Personality Cafe.
Yeah, you're hanging out in Personality Cafe instead.
Yeah, but okay. So you know how I told you I have like a friend who decided to try and kind of life coach me, right?
Yeah.
Well, he was talking to me the other day about my energy right now, and like how it seems like I'm kind of almost waiting to just kind of get into the things that I want to do, waiting to write my book and definitely going forward with singing. You basically can't stop me. But but she said to me, she's like, you need to go through like kind of a purge cycle. She's like, you take in so much information and you do so many things, you spread yourself so thin. she said, you need to go through a cycle of figuring out how to purge all that. And I think sleep, the Dave Superpowers sense, you know, I think that FISI for us, which I don't let myself get into that much, but that would be like a purging time for us, just like what you were talking about on that train. I think it was when you were traveling. Am I right?
The bus. You changed the SI.
So good.
SI.
So good. So we're yeah, but you were traveling, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how off I am, but so anyway, thank you for laughing. But anyway, I need to go through that kind of cycle, I think. Like, get rid of everything that I've been working on, figure out what I really want to center myself on, and go forward with it. Like, when is there ever a time that consume stops, you know? And it's really usually when I've exhausted a subject that is really interesting to me. And I've got to, you know, go through all that, purge all that, figure out what I want next. I think that's where I'm
at. Speaking of writing books, I was talking to, when I had an INTJ coach, he was able to publish several ebooks and actual paper copy books, right? And he said the reason why people are messing up writing books, like kind of like you write one chapter and then you'll don't want to write anymore, and then later you'll write half of the second chapter and then you're done. He said the reason why is because you stopped writing. You were trying to fix whatever you wrote. He said what you need to do is to write without stopping, like from start to finish. Keep writing. Doesn't matter how irritated you are at what you wrote. He said just keep writing, keep writing. Every single chapter until you finish every single chapter. Just keep writing, even if it's garbage. He said just keep writing. Don't stop writing.
I think Stephen King said stay above the doubt. Stay ahead of the doubt, I think, is something that Stephen King says in his book. So
I don't know what that means, but does that mean like just finish the book? Just write the whole thing?
It means it means like don't question, don't share even the book with anybody. Just keep going, keep going. Yeah. And tell me again, who was this that was saying this?
Sorry?
What you just quoted, like to just write and get through it. Don't write half a chapter, but write the whole chapter. Who was it that was talking about that?
Oh, it was my INTJ coach.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. He can't coach you. He only coaches guys.
That's fine.
That's kind of his niche market. He said that you should always niche your market. Like if you start a business, you know, like pick a demographic and then stick to that because it's easier for you to market. So, but basically he said, just write everything, even if it's garbage. Just write because it's easier to edit than to finish something, right? So like even on my blog, because I write articles now on my blog. Like I'll write something and I'm like, oh my god, this sounds so bad. I'm like, no, keep going, just finish this whole damn thing, finish the whole article. So I'll have like a 2,000 word article finish, and I'll reread it later, and I'll be like, okay, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Like maybe I'm being self-critical. You know what I mean? Maybe you're being self-critical too. Like maybe you're writing something, you're like, I don't like this. You know?
Definitely, yeah.
You know, and also I noticed like when I first started my blog, I can tell you right now, my first year having my blog, I can't tell you how many people mocked me and made fun of me and told me my writing was garbage. Like I have ENFJ friends who looked at my stuff and they would be like, Kendrick, maybe you want to make your blog look a little bit nicer, you know, because I think that's very important, you know, like FE, you know, like have that like appearance, right? Or the image. Or they're like, oh, Kendrick, maybe you want to like edit your grammar more. Or, Kendrick, maybe you want to organize your thoughts better before you start writing, you know? But then I was thinking about it, like kind of like what my old coach said. And I thought to myself, I'm like, no, I can't listen to any of these people. I need to just keep writing. I need to keep writing and writing and writing because I know for a fact that if you keep writing, it's going to improve by itself automatically. So yes, it will be terrible. Yes, people will mock me. Yes, people will think I'm stupid or I'm an idiot. And so be it. You know what? If I get mocked or people call me an idiot, I'll feel bad. I'll get my feelings hurt. I'll keep going, you know?
Huh. So are you afraid of the criticism that you would get after a video like this? Because honestly, I'm all, dang, I mean, honestly, like I'm feeling critical about several things that I've said or not said.
Yeah.
Here. How do you deal with that? What do you do?
Oh, I don't really care.
You just push through. You don't care.
Because I've practiced enough now. No, okay. Like remember that video I made that people got pissed
How
at
am I gonna deal later? Tell me how to deal. Just kidding.
No, I
Anyway.
mean, okay, remember that video that I published, the why ENFP will kick INTJ and INFJ's ass in a 20 to 40 year time
Okay,
span?
but I never watched it, remember? That was when my TE came out and I said, Kendra, what are you doing? Why would you write this? Remember that was our first exchange. I never watched it.
No. I know you didn't. I know you didn't watch it, but I know you saw it, and you also saw that people got pissed at me, right?
Yeah,
Especially
including me. I was not helpful on that. By the way, I'm gonna go back. We're friends now. You are part of my tribe now. So
yeah.
So I'm going back. I'll look at it all now.
No, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is.
Go ahead.
Like even before
it got a lot of attention. Got a lot of attention. That's what you kind of maybe want to.
Well, even before I published that, I already had like an anxiety attack inside. I was like, oh my God, people are gonna get pissed at me for this. Not because of the content actually. If you watch, it's actually really friendly. It's the title that's aggressive, right?
That's what you told me. You wrote back and you said, Alesha, it's okay. It's not not rude.
No, because like it was kind of like a parody or like a social experiment for me because I was like, okay, I want to put this video out. I wonder how many people will get pissed because they did not watch the video. They saw the title and they got pissed. You know what I mean?
Me, number one, or like I was one of the first responders.
Yeah. So maybe people with masculine tribe will get pissed.
Oh yeah.
Because I saw some INFJs.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of INTJs watch it, and they said, "Well, I disagree with your what do you call it? Your argument, but it was entertaining nonetheless." Or like one person said, "Okay," like another INFJ said, "Okay, I see where you're coming from. That's a good point." You know, like, so the ones that watch it did not get mad.
Yeah, because it was probably not offensive at all and respectful.
No, it was very playful, and it was like kind of like I don't really believe that ENFP will beat INTJ and INFJ's ass in 20 to 4 years time span, unless you are a high performing ENFP and those INFJs or INTJs are the ones that are slacking off or they're wasting their life.
Like, hopefully we're all equal, right? Yeah.
I think INTJs has us beat actually.
I tell you, I have an older brother who's an INTJ, right?
Yeah.
He's always been really competitive with me.
Yeah.
Who's going to win? I did not want to be a part of the competition there. So, but anyway, I actually see lots of older ENFPs because of being in counseling. Yeah. And I see older versions of everything, right? But we're pretty kick-ass actually. So we end up being a little bit more like ESTJs, just a little bit. So there's like lots of managerial stuff we get ourselves into, but still with like the motivation of FI, still usually like trying to help people. I think we do pretty good.
So what is it about people watching your video that makes you feel scared?
Okay, this was super scary for me to do anyway, because I haven't even put my picture up on Personality Cafe at all.
Yeah.
And so that was scary. And then let's see. I mean, I just keep catching myself, right? I keep catching myself saying things that I wish I hadn't said, or that I wish that I would have said more. Just that self-criticalness, what we do.
Right. So
basically, I do that.
No, but I don't know if you noticed this, but because you said those things that you regret kind of saying or not saying enough of, you now have it in the back of your mind, and later on when you do something like this again, you can make it even better because now you have feedback now, want to improve, right?
I don't know if I'll ever do anything like this again.
Well, maybe not anything like this.
Not that it's a bad experience, but like if you Google my name on Google, I think there's one picture of me from a Halloween dance from like 19.
Yeah.
99 or
Yeah.
something. I mean, like, that's how little presence I've had on the web. I don't have a Facebook page. I don't have, so anyway, so for me, the reason I did this was because it made me laugh my head off when you suggested it. It made me giggle. I was like, ah, ha, ha. That'll be so silly for me to do. And because it was kind of making me happy,
Yeah.
sparking joy as a phrase, then I decided to do it. But and it's not a bad experience because I really like getting to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah. We're friends now, so it's good.
yeah, exactly. So I found a new friend. I can talk to you about different things now.
Yeah.
I know what kind of things I'd like to talk to you about and going forward and everything. So yeah, so it's not bad that way. Will I look back at it? Probably not. I will probably force my family to watch 2 minutes or 3 minutes of it. And then, because I can't see, this is why I don't do sleep. Like, nostalgia is really hard for me. So like, for instance, I don't like home movies very much. I like to watch them with my kids and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to watch this back, if I could stand it, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I don't know how you deal with that on your videos, or if you watch them and you improve, which would be the smart, mature thing to do. But anyway, that's where I'm at with it. Thank you for getting me out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, happy to help in some kind of way, but okay, so Dave said that for us ENFPs to improve, especially if we have low sleep, we have to rewatch the videos that we make, actually. Because he said that you need to hear the bullshit that comes out of your own mouth. That's kind of what, like, he said, right? Because maybe you won't like it, maybe you'll like it, but at least you'll know what to fix, right? So for me, I don't watch all the videos that I make, but I watch some of them. So if
what about the comments? Do you read all the comments?
Yes, I do. Yeah, some of them, like, I'm still human, right? I get my feelings hurt. Like, I'll read something, and if it's like really bad, I get my feelings hurt. But like I'm gonna make a video on this like later on. But basically, what I learned about being able to change your behavior, or being able to be more open-minded, is that you need to be traumatized, essentially. So I was watching a video by Tai Lopez, and I don't know if you know him. He's that annoying guy on YouTube. Like,
he's ENFP.
He's ENTP based on what he said on Twitter. But
okay,
he basically said,
I know nothing about him. Yeah. So he said
the moment you're older than 25, you essentially become close-minded. Like, you're not open to new information anymore. So that's why his target market is 18 to 25. And then, however, if you traumatize yourself on purpose, like some kind of traumatic event happens, that's the only kind of cheat that you can do to kind of change your behavior, right? So
interesting.
So for me, I purposely make these videos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gradually making it more and more controversial sometimes, for the sake of traumatizing myself. Like, because I know I'm gonna get a lot of tribe hate, and I'm gonna get really traumatized. Like, I'm gonna have anxiety. I'm gonna force myself to read all the comments. Like, I force myself to read the comments.
Getting out of your comfort zone is basically essentially.
Well, I force myself to get my feelings hurt. Like, I'm gonna go read a review, have people bash me. I think one of the biggest things I learned in life is like like the Rocky movies, right? They always say, I don't know if you watch those Rocky movies, like Rocky Balboa and stuff. So basically,
I haven't done anything you're referring to. Sounds like.
It's fine. Anyway, Sylvester Stallone had a really good line in one of the movies, and he said, like, in life, it's not about how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can get hit and get back up and keep moving. Because he said life is gonna beat you down really hard, and it's gonna keep you down on your knees unless you don't let it, unless you get back up and keep moving, regardless of how hard you get beaten down, right? So for me, I'm purposely getting beaten down to see how much willpower I have, how much I can take, how much beating I can take, and still be able to persevere. Because I have a dream that I want to achieve in my life, and if I'm gonna allow having my feelings hurt stop me from achieving my dream, then I can't respect myself as a person,
Yep.
So that's basically kind of like what I'm trying to do. So I'm purposely, I make these videos. I know I'm like in my, I have I'm also self-critical, right? I look at the videos that I make. I'm like, oh, I look like an idiot, or like I have a pimple on my face, or like clearly I ate too much McDonald's a few days ago because I have acne on my face, or like my face is greasy or something, or I didn't do my hair for this video, but I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to put it out there because I need to keep putting content out there because I can't be stagnant. I have to keep moving, and if people criticize me, then so be it. It doesn't mean I'm going to reject how I feel. It's not going to say like, who cares what other people think of me? Well, actually, I do care what other people think of me. And I can admit that. But just because I care about what other people think of me, and just because my feelings get hurt based on what other people say to me, I'm not going to let that stop me from pursuing my dream, because it's that important to me, So
I think this is very good. I think this is really good that you're doing this and fighting everything, all your demons at like 34 numbers. Anyway, I think it's amazing that you're doing that now. Like I just barely started to kind of be able to hold up under criticism, really. Like criticism, that whole thing about ENFPs not liking criticism, very true for me. Like it really was when I put my tagline on my personality cafe, like my profile. My tagline is a quote from Joseph Campbell, saying that the cave that you are afraid to enter contains the treasure that you have been seeking. And that's a paraphrase of what he said. But basically, then he says, and what you stumble on, that's your treasure too. And it becomes like your whole world. And so weaknesses becoming strengths, that's huge to me. And I think you're doing that. And I want to ask you what your vision is. What are you trying to accomplish? Because you're saying, I'm going to keep pursuing this. What is it you want to do?
Well, this is a long drawn out answer.
Go for it.
So basically, when I was in high school, I felt like the school system failed me, and I didn't learn anything in high school. So when I went to post-secondary, I felt I was unprepared. Like I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. I had no clue what how to achieve the one thing that we all want as an ENFP, which is freedom. We're obsessed with freedom, right? And I was looking at other people around me, whether that be my family member, cousins, or looking at my friends, and they seemed to be all moving towards a direction. Now, I wasn't sure if they really liked what they were doing, but they were moving and I wasn't moving. Now, as I got older, I started to realize kind of like that thing that we talked about, how people put their ladder on the wrong building, right? Mm-hmm. Now, they might be making a lot of money, which is good. In my opinion, that's also very important because we can't just be wishy-washy ENFPs thinking, everything's good without money. We do need to make a lot of money. So that's also important. So
especially to travel. Yeah.
Exactly. So where is that intersection between like happiness and being realistic, right? So how can you pursue your passion and your dreams, but still be realistic, still be making good money, still be and still have the stuff that you want to do. So for example, I'm an ENFP, I want freedom. So I want to travel around the world and have the freedom to go anywhere I want, and I don't have to go to an office the next day and be stuck in that office if I don't want to, right? Like I still want to work because I like working, but I want it to be on my terms. You know what I mean? So basically what I really want to do long term is I want to start my own school. And in my own school, I wanted to teach people practical skills to not only chase after their dreams, but be realistic about it, where they can make good money with business or whatever business. I would probably pick business for now, but still be pursuing their dream. So it's an intersection of your FI while you still using TE, right?
Would this be college or would this be high school or what?
Well, I don't know. I don't have that answer to that yet, but I'm starting to have an inkling of what it's going to look like, because when I was traveling, I actually met like ENFJs who started their own school in the weirdest fashion I could imagine. Like one person had a hostel, and the hostel would become a school in the summer, and people would sleep there in the summer and also go to school and learn Spanish, right? This was in Colombia. So I was thinking to this wasn't the only person that was doing this. I met another person who was starting a hostel in Thailand, but then he got kicked out of Thailand. Now he's in Spain now. And he's starting also like some kind of hostel. I don't know what's the obsession with hostels turning to schools, and they're all ENFJs too. I don't know why that's like they have the same idea. But the point
that's amazing that you've met a couple of people who have done this. That's amazing.
Right. So yeah. I'm seeing people start like alternative education, and and really start to succeed with it, right? There is definitely a demand for it. A lot of business opportunity as well as, you know, helping other people. So it's a good intersection of money and helping other people. So, so right now, in my opinion, you cannot help other people until you help yourself first. Until you're 100% self-sustained, like you can get happiness from yourself. You don't need happiness from other people, and you're financially independent. Like you don't need to get money from other people. You can get money from your own practice. In my opinion, until you're 100% independent, you don't have freedom. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to win my independence first. And the way I'm trying to do that is through my day job working in fitness, building up my travel blog to earn income from my travel blog, building up my YouTube channel as an ENFP male and earn income from that as well. So I'm trying to diversify my income sources. And once I'm making a set amount of money, then I can venture off and go full-time with my business. Once I'm independent and I've proven for many years that I can build sustainable income and I've hit the net worth that I want to have that makes me feel comfortable retiring, I'm going to go start a school and I'm going to give myself 100% to the community, to the tribe essentially. And my goal is to help as many people as possible kind of put their ladder in the right building, FI, climb that building, be successful, gain their independence, gain their happiness, and live the life that they want. And also when they're older, they can give back to people. And I think that's kind of like what that's exactly what I'm trying to do right now in my life.
That is so cool. I so approve. Do that. That is so cool. So, by the way, I know you'll want to bounce ideas off of all sorts of people. I watched a video on Myers-Briggs and was struggling with kids that were struggling with math. I'll send you that video, by the way.
Sure.
And it was really eye-opening to me. It was really cool. It was based on Dario Nardi's work, the neuroscience kind of stuff, which I am very interested in. I don't know if you've looked into that at all.
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to introduce you later.
Sure.
I want to comment on your analogy with the ladder, and I really like it. A while back, I was talking to a couple of people, and I realized that for me, and I wonder if all ENFPs do this all the time, because I think we do, but we're like constantly assessing if whatever system is going on is actually going to reach the right ladder or the right building. We're constantly assessing that. So when somebody is telling me about their problems, sometimes they're telling me about these little detail problems and how do I fix this gear? And I'm like, well, your whole machine actually isn't suited to what you really want. And then I'll go back and ask, well, what do you really want? And they're like, hey, I'm talking about this gear. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but your whole thing isn't going to get you where you want to go. So I'm like, so I'm assessing that. So all my comments are basically about that. And they're, and that I think is frustrating to other types sometimes if they're wanting to talk about the details and I'm seeing this big picture. But I honestly think that we ENFPs do that a lot. What do you think?
I gotta wrap the interview pretty soon, but I'll do a little comment about that. I think we're always looking for the person's FI. Like, what is your passion? What is your dream, right? And I think every time someone betrays themselves, I think a part of us also dies. Like we just hate it. We hate seeing people betray themselves. Like how can you do that to yourself? Don't you have self-respect? Don't you love yourself? And it also pains us because we don't like a lot of those people are our friends, right? And like now they are miserable because they're so far up the ladder. It's hard to kind of go back down and climb another one, Like I have so many EJ friends, like ENFJ friends who they're in the wrong ladder. They're stuck. One of them even went up to me and my friends and he said to us, save yourself. It's too late for me. Like that's exactly what he said to us. Like I'm like it's never too late, man. Come on. Like, but
that's funny.
It's horrible, but it's he said that and he said it multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, Alesha, we didn't get to talk about your Enneagram too. We had so much that we could have talked about. But anyways, it was awesome interviewing you today. Awesome to get to know you. I also like the fact that you somehow hijacked the conversation partway and you became the interviewer. I thought that was really awesome. That was really funny.
You noticed?
Yeah, of course. But and then, do you have any final message to your fellow ENFPs out there just some wisdom that you've gathered throughout your life that you think could help someone that you've had this problem before and you found a solution for it. So let's just do that real quick and then we'll wrap this up.
Basically, the ENFPs are much, much better people than we ever give ourselves credit for. Like, and we're capable of so much more than sometimes we actually put out. So to all of us, I got, a lot from your messages today that were inspiring about actually, making sure to live my dream, get things accomplished. And I'm hoping for every ENFP that we all get to do that and listen to that inspiration. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Alesha. And
I'll talk to you later.
I'll talk to you soon.